Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors. In this episode, what we're going to walk you through is how to inoculate a log for mushrooms. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Tim and Doyle. Welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses,
A podcast about the outdoors, hunting,
and being a steward of the land.
Hi everyone, welcome to Midwest Hunting and Outdoors by Two Dumbasses. In this episode, as mentioned, we are going to go through step by step on how to inoculate logs. It's the middle of January, perfect time, deer season's over, and that's one of the requirements actually for these logs is that hey, they have to be in the winter or late fall before you cut them. What I'm showing you here is a couple of oak logs that I just cut, and how I choose my logs for us on our farm is we're looking at to thin out some of our timber. So tree stand improvement, TSI, some people call it timber stand improvement. So that's kind of how I select which trees I'm going to knock down to allow those other trees around them to release and grow bigger faster. But enough about that. We have an episode and I'll point that out as a card if that interests you. So I bought these mushroom spores. This was a 500 component bag, and what this one is shiitake. And Joel and I are donating a couple logs to the Pheasants Forever banquet, so I'm going to get these ready for those folks for the auction. But I bought these from, as I said, North Spore, and I also bought a kit. So with the kit, they give you the daubers for daubing the wax. It also comes with a drill bit. More on that later. And then it's also got a little instruction booklet on how to do all this. But I'm going to simplify this all for you. I just got a regular drill bit and I've taped it off. So that I get to the proper depth. The other thing I would tell you is that we all have cordless drills. I would recommend, as many holes as you're going to be drilling, I would recommend going with your corded version, so you don't have to keep slipping out batteries. And then the other thing is buy yourself some wax. Get it at the grocery store. It's relatively cheap. And then also buy yourself a miniature crock pot. You can get them at Walmart for $10, which is what I did. And I just dedicated it strictly for this process. So in the book, what they recommend you do is every 5 to 6 inches you drill a hole, and I start at the end and then start to roughly measure. It's not an exact science. And then what they do is they recommend that you do a diamond pattern. So you get this, and then what you do is you offset again 3-4 inches from your other holes diagonally, and then you drill another straight line, and you just keep doing that until you're all the way around the log. And then lastly, what you do is on the end of your log, you drill some holes in here, and then what we'll do is we'll put in these plugs. We'll put these plugs in, and these plugs will then seat very nicely inside those holes. And then what I do is take a little bit of wax and then seal all those holes. The next thing, what I would tell you to do is keep these bags. More on that later. So let's get started. So I've got these all drilled, and so now what we're going to do is basically take some of these plugs and plug them into these holes. And what you see, all of this is that mycelium that's growing already, which is all good. Now, sometimes you'll see extra mycelium like that, and I don't need all of that. So I'm going to put that aside. Remember what I told you is don't throw away the bags. I'm going to tell you more about that later. Okay, so for this log I've got all the holes drilled, and you'll see I've put them about every 2-3 inches apart. Our next step is we're going to seal those with wax, and basically that wax serves the purpose of keeping out bacteria that we don't want competing with our mycelium. So it's really just that simple. You just take a little dauber, put a little wax right over the top, and it's sealed. Now, while I'm doing this, a couple of things is a log, they say, will last an inch for your mushrooms. Inch a year. So if you have a 5-inch log, it'll basically produce for 5 years or thereabouts is a good estimate. And these are roughly 5-6 inch logs, so easy enough to handle for someone. Another element is there's a concept called forced fruiting that we're not going to go into in this episode, but surmise it to say forced fruiting is you're basically dunking these logs into water at some sort of frequency, and that water basically with the temperature that mushroom needs, it will help activate it. Okay, now I've finished this log. I've got them all drilled. I don't know, I probably put in 40 plugs in this log. I've got them all sealed with wax, just regular wax. The other thing that I've done is I've kept these little pieces of mycelium that I was telling you about. And again, this is just coming from one log, and this is just extra mycelium. Well, as you can see on this table, I'm generating lots of sawdust. And so as I generate this sawdust, what it's doing is, this is the species of log for shiitake oak that I need. It's coming off of a live tree. I didn't mention that earlier. And they recommend that it has to be alive, and that you cut that tree again in the fall with no leaves on it, or in the winter. So it's January here in Iowa. But as I'm sitting here, and then also, you should use that log within 1 to 2 weeks after cutting it, so that it's not being infected with microorganisms. Now, you'll see as I'm going through this drill process, I'm generating lots of sawdust. Well, when I empty this bag out, there's mycelium in all of this plastic. So when I opened it up, I didn't destroy the bag. And what I do is I load all the sawdust that I've done from these logs, and I pack it into these bags. So this was one from Lion's Mane that I did, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago. And you can see that mycelium is starting to grow. So I don't expect to get any mushrooms off of this until maybe next year, next fall. But I'm generating lots of mycelium in a sterilized environment that I can use either in a sawdust bin, or I can cut holes in here and let the mushrooms come out of here, which is what I'm planning on doing. So kind of a cool thing. I'll do another episode on log species and for different types of mushrooms. But until next time, be safe, have fun, and get outdoors.
Desperado.